presenting, the last boundary, the last challenging. We as educators, researchers, lecturers, teachers, we are all the time presenting, even as students. But when we are creating our presentation, one of the key moments is creating the oral presentation, the discourse that we have talked about it in another video. And the next big step is to create our slideshow. But I'm sure that historically you, as me, are completely tired of seeing awful oral presentations with awful slides that we cannot read and that are so awful that we cannot see them. So this video is about how to do some good visual presentations. My name is Linda Castañeda from the University of Murcia, and I will try to give you some tips about how to do a good slideshow with some small steps. First of all, try to think in slides. But when you are going to do your slides, you need to start from your script. Remember, we have another video about how to prepare your oral presentation. And in the end of that video, I told you, please create a script. And with this script, you can create a storyboard. A storyboard with small pieces of paper when you can write the big ideas that you want to communicate, and then on each one of them you can include the kind of picture or diagram or whatever that you want to include on this. And if you got those kind of small pieces of paper, you can change it and make easier the changes on the structure of your discourse and of your slideshow. But once you got this structure, remember that design is crucial. The absence of design is not neutral, it's bad. If you don't have a good design, your message is going to be less sticky, less communicative. So please, try to create good slides, try to impact in the perception of your audience. For this, we have some basic things. First of all, remember, slides are text plus pictures. Maybe just pictures or probably videos. Remember that all these text and videos or pictures or everything in the slides depends on the mood, the content, and the audience. It's not the same if we are in a formal presentation for my PhD, Viva, or for my presentation in a classroom, and I need to be very formal, or if I'm doing a pechacha in the middle of a conference, the mood is completely different. If the content is something about thinking or critical thinking, or if it's a technical thing, it's a completely different content. And if the audience are my students in the degree of whatever, or are other colleagues from other universities that work with me, it's not the same audience. So try to be careful of these three things for trying to put these text, pictures, and colors that fit with them. Also remember, the more basic thing when you're doing in slides is that too much information doesn't work, because it creates cognitive overload. We have many studies about multimedia that said that, so please follow the advice. And remember that when I am talking about information, I'm not talking just about text. I'm talking about text and pictures and color. The text, the pictures, and the color gives you information. So if you include just a small text, but a lot of pictures, is the same as if you include a lot of text and no pictures. So please take care. One slide, one idea. They're for free, so please use as much as you want. And remember that if you are in a question, you don't know if decor or design, forget the decor. It's not about decoration, it's about design. And remember that you are designing your slideshow for everybody in the classroom, even for the people in the last row. So remember, when you're thinking about pictures, about size, about volume, about on videos, or about whatever, that they are as important as the people in the first row. So please design for all of them. As a general advice, don't use backgrounds. They are only noise. Only noise for your slides. And don't use templates. Why? If I can get some amazing collection of templates from the internet. Because in the beginning, especially when you're starting to create your own slideshows, your own amazing slideshows, if you take a template, we tend to put our ideas with a hammer in the template. And it's much more important to express your idea than to use the template, even if the template is beautiful. But the most important thing are your ideas, not the templates. So don't use templates for starting. Now, speak a bit about how to use text. The first thing, how much text? Just the impresentable. Remember that if you include in your slide a long text, people is going to try to read it, and you are going to read it as well. So if you read it, they read it, and in the end they are not listening to you, they are not reading properly, they are reading faster than you, and it doesn't work. If I say, El Quijote era un hidalgo de los de lanza en astillero, please tell this to the people, but don't read it. Don't include too much text. If you need that they read something, put it in the screen and let them read it. Give them space, time, silence. I imagine that for you it would be very illustrative to see this quotation from Andy Clark. Please read it. This silence is very useful for your presentation, even because sometimes it's important to remark some important things in quotations. Do it, but give them the opportunity of read them by themselves. Don't read it by them. Remember that they know how to read. If you're going to include a list or a checklist, try to make it softer, including some illustrations or some pictures and some colors for mixing this checklist. And please remember that the good size for the text depends on the impact that you want to take in your audience, and also depends on the last row. If in the last row they cannot read the text, the text is not important. You need that everybody in the room can see the text and can see whatever you are writing in your slides. What about fonts? Basically, there are many types of fonts. The two basics are sans serif and serif. Serifs basically are those small things in the end of each letter. Okay, and the others are the sans serif fonts. The most readable are the sans serif fonts, but there are other types of fonts. For example, the sans serif, the most typical, the most well-known are Arial, Comic Sans, Gil Sans, Calibri, Franklin Gothic, and also in the serif we got Times, Century, Palatino. Serif are more decorative and also more formal, and sans serif are less formal and also more readable. Also, there exist other types of fonts as decorative fonts, decoration, and script fonts that are inspired in the handwriting. You can use all of them depending on the context, the mood, the content, the audience. The clear example of how to don't use a font is the Comic Sans example. Maybe you know that everybody hates Comic Sans. It is not true. Comic Sans is not a wrong font. The problem is not that in Comic Sans. The problem is in people who are using Comic Sans for a danger of death, keep out message, or for a diploma, or for a statue. Come on. Comic Sans was a font created for comics, for children. So don't use it in a formal way. In the same way, if you use Times New Roman for children, maybe it doesn't fit because for children it's not readable at all. You can decide your fonts. Probably if you don't have clear ideas, the most easy choice is sans serif. And definitely you can combine types of fonts, but not more than 2 on each slideshow, and not from different kind of fonts. Try to be coherent. And only if you want to remark so much the message, skip those tips and go ahead and use whatever you want. In terms of color, it is important to remember that the color is not for decorating your slides. The color is enlightening the essence of your message. The color is there to try to help you to remark the message, to remark paths, to differentiate things, to make more important the crucial thing on the slides. For example, here, personal learning environment. The most important thing is the L, because it's about learning, at least for pedagogues. I'm a pedagogist, so that's it. Or in this that you're saying, please speak with your head and your heart, and you're offering the heart is a pinky mood would works for audience, but how much correctly the colors? There is an entire field of study that is about color theory, but here we are going to see just some tips. Firstly, this is the color wheel. I'm introducing you the color wheel. Probably you know it. You know that there are some hot colors and cold colors. And for these colors, how can I use it or matching them well? There are 3 basic ways for being sure that you're good, that you're in the right way. First, use a monochromatic palette. The same color but in different lights or in different shades normally works. Or maybe you can use analog colors. Those colors that close each other in the color wheel normally work perfectly in the slides. And if you want contrast, use complementary colors. Those colors that are exactly in the contrary place in the color wheel. For example, here they are very good for showing contrasts, very good to create this atmosphere of important. Take care if you are using them so much in text, in long text, because they vibrate so much and they're not comfortable to see for a long time. Also remember that we got black and white and gray that are in the middle. But they are not properly colors, but they are also very useful for your slides. You can work in black and white and gray and then use the color for remarking things, for creating a special atmosphere of neutral things, but remarking important content, as in this or in this. And remember, please, using the color in the wrong way is much worse than not using it at all. What about pictures? Pictures are always trying to help us to impact more in our audience with our message. In the other video, we said emotional messages are important, and pictures help us to create a more emotional context in our slideshow. Try to use strong pictures. Normal pictures with people works better than the others. People that show that are doing things, real people, not too beautiful people, handsome guys. Try to use real people and use visual metaphors to share, or the island of the curriculum, or suggestive objects, sharing enthusiasm, or what is my way. Please use quality pictures. If you use less quality pictures, normally your audience are going to be worried about the quality of your picture. What is this? Is a bag? Is a flower? What is this? And if you have just one picture, please fill the entire slide with the picture. It is much more shocking and impacting than the others. And please use images, pictures with licenses. Use Creative Commons licenses. There are many kind of them, and you have a lot of engines for find them. Or use your own pictures. Don't use clip art, please. They are too old-fashioned for it, and they doesn't work very well. If you are going to use GIF, take care of what kind of gifts, what kind of humor, and if you got or don't have the or you don't got the license for use it, and only go to the computer when you have everything clear. What do you want to say? How are you going to say that? And what kind of resources are you using to say that? And finally, a lot of people ask me for what is the best software for creating your slides. From my point of view, the software is the less important thing, whatever you want. The most important thing is before. Is trying to collect your ideas, structure your ideas, and then to try to organize your slides. When you got your slides, your discourse, and everything you want to say and how you want to say, you can create basically the same kind of things in any software that you use. So now is the time for starting. So try starting, try again and again and again, and I'm sure that from here on, your slideshows are going to be much, much better. Thank you very much.